It's the premiere of ATG Live, and we're here to prove a few things. First of all, I don't think you have to drink to enjoy this show.
And I've decided that I'm going to personally embrace the trolls and give them a fair shot.
And apparently I'm still stuck with these two non-comic reading jabronis. I guess someone's got to be the adult in the room here. This is ATG Live.
Well, welcome to ATG Live, your new home on Thursday nights for all things Star Wars. We are so happy to be here. We get the brand new show. We got everybody ready to go. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Pete Fletzer. I'm also joined, as always, by my good friend Nick Mielke and my other good friend Chris Ryons. Nick, how's it going, my friend?
Man, I am so excited. There's been so much work, so much prep and conversation and multiple text messages between all of us. Back and forth, excited leading up to this moment right now. So I'm excited. I'm ready to do this thing.
Awesome. I'm so glad to be here with all of you. And Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. There hasn't been a whole bunch of Star Wars news this past couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, this is our first show of 2024. It's the 11th of January. This is the first time we've all gotten together with everybody, and everybody's hanging out with us. So thank you all for hanging. Leave your comments during the show because we will be getting to them a little bit later. And but before we there, what kind of things do you want to talk about tonight, Nick?
Well, there's just a couple of days ago, like Chris said, there's not a lot of news except we had Mando and Grogu dropped on us heading to the big screen. Controversy there already. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. No, I know it's shocking. And John Williams might be coming out of retirement. And Ahsoka 2 was just sort of casually announced. So we'll get into some of that a little bit later.
All those kinds of things. Also, as a part of this new ATG Live, for everybody who's tuning in, we're going to have excellent guests every single week, and we thought what better way to kick it off. For this first episode, we have a fabulous guest. She is the Queen of the High Republic. She is the tabletop RPG royalty that we all know and love. And in my house, she is also known as Krystina with the good hair. That's right. Krystina Arielle, friend of the show, friend of every Star Wars fan out there, is with us tonight, and we're excited to talk to her about 2024.
I'm so excited to have her here. But before we get to that, listen, if you're watching this right now, if you're new to the show, if you discovered us somehow, first of all, welcome. If you are a longtime hanger outer with us, thank you for coming back. And thanks for checking out the new Thursday night format, the new show. But also make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're hanging out with us, we're trying to get over 1,000 subscribers. That's the goal. We should be able to get there pretty soon. But please make sure to do that so that you can remember to join us every Thursday night. We're going to do this every Thursday now. At 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, right? 6
7
Mountain,
Central, where the good people live.
The good people live, yeah. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can join us on a regular basis. Hit the reminder too, so because you're going to forget it's Thursday, it's new.
That's right. There's a busy week and things are going on. And if you want to keep up with us throughout the week, we are on social media like everyone else on this planet. Couple of easiest things to do to find us. We are still on Twitter because guess what? People are still on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at ATGcast. Everywhere else, every other social media thing you have, we are at the SSW Network, including our website, theSSWnetwork.com. Your one-stop shop to find us, figure out where we are, click the link, find merchandise. There's t-shirts, there's mugs, there's stickers, there's all the things you need to show everyone in your life that you are a dedicated Star Wars shill.
Well, plus, while you're there, you can also join our Patreon program for as little as $3 a month. You can join us when we interview our celebrities for the Around the Galaxy show and Podcast the Wheels, which is part of the SSW network. You're going to get some free swag. You're going to get extreme deep discounts on all your merch. So you'll be able to check that out. So make sure to hit that as well.
And one other thing, we've added this new feature. We've teased it off and on over the last couple of years. We have a voicemail line, and we're excited about this voicemail line. We want you to use this. The number is 504-321-1501. You go to that number, you call, you leave us a voicemail. You can leave us a voicemail about tonight's show. You could be watching Star Wars on Sunday or Monday of this next week and have a brilliant, life-changing thought and epiphany. Lightning strikes your brain and you go, I need the guys at ATG Live to talk about this. Call that number, save it in your phone, leave us a voicemail, and we will get to those the following week. Obviously, we can't answer voicemails on the fly in real time, but especially in 2024, there's so much new Star Wars coming our way. You may be watching a new episode of Bad Batch or Ahsoka 2 or Skeleton Crew, whatever it is, and you have a thought, something right then, you don't want to lose it. That's the chance. Call that number, leave us a message, and we're going to use those at the end of the show in our intercepted transmissions spot. So again, 504-321-1501. Hit us up, leave us a message, leave us some love.
So much going on, so much to get to tonight. Can't wait to get to Krystina Arielle, but first we're going to hit the news. But before we get to there, we're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back with more ATG Live. Well, welcome back to welcome back to ATG Live. We're excited to be here. We are very excited to get to some of the news. This is the format. If you're watching with us for the first time, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can see we're keeping track of where we are in the show down the side. The first part of our show every single week is going to be talking about the news, and we call that section, Did You Hear That? Lloyd, punch it. Well, for our first headline tonight, let's go to our good friend Chris Ryons. Chris, what do you got?
Well, apparently they've announced a Grogu and Mandalorian and Grogu film coming up. Who knows when that's going to happen? So StarWars.com dropped a bomb this week for fans with the announcement of a new film, presumably called The Mandalorian and Grogu. You know, the movie's planned to be released in theaters with Jon Favreau as producer, as well as Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni, who's got some work ahead of him. John and Dave ushered in Star Wars into to new and beloved characters, and this new story is a perfect fit for the big screen. And added Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. Production begins this year. What do I usually say? Just a hashtag gimme.
Hashtag gimme.
Gimme. You know, and I'm excited that it's returning in this format, and I think it's going to be. I think that it's perfect that it's going to be made a film because it belongs in the same kind of prestige as the movies go, and as in that same arena as Luke and Leia and Han and Anakin, Obi-Wan, Padme, all that. I am happy that this is happening, and this is a great new era for Star Wars.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. But I think it's a safe move. I think it's a very safe move. I think it's a good thing, right? So first of all, I'm excited to see Din Djarin and Grogu on the big screen with a big screen budget, like a major motion picture budget going into this. But I think honestly, they're playing a little defense. And what I mean by that is I think season 4 for Mando had been tossed around, so they had a story ready to go of some sort. This allows them to get back into theaters sooner than later. More importantly, to me, it allows them to spend the right amount of time with those other 3 major announcements that came out earlier. Nick, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on it being a safe bet, simply for the fact that this is, if nothing, a very vocal fandom. And we've already seen this some just in the announcement of this movie. You've had complaints about everything from, is that really the title? Which I don't think Mandalorian and Grogu is the title, but I'll be perfectly honest, I kind of hope it is. Like, I'd be down for that. Let the
Solo, a
movie be
Star
called
Wars
that.
story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and why not? But I think that it's not necessarily a safe bet, given how vocal this fandom is, that a property that is beloved, season 3, depending on who you ask, had some bumps. But I think that when you put it in the big screen, and movies have always had this really special, high reserved place, Star Wars TV is a newer thing. I think that when you put the opportunity to put that out there, it opens the door for really one of two things: widespread acclaim, or potentially, for the most part, widespread, outrage and outcry from the knuckleheads who always have dumb things to say. That's my 2 cents. Chris, I know you've got something for us.
What as far as the knucklehead dum-dums go?
Either one.
Yeah. Is the shut up video still on here somewhere? Play that, because that's pretty much.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think, like, it's a safe play, right? Everybody loves Grogu, and he prints money. Yeah.
I don't know.
So maybe that's the question: is it a marketing safe play?
I think it's the next logical step for a property, for something within Star Wars as popular as that is. It just makes sense to make it a film. Put it out there in theaters for sure.
Well, and on top of that, they have the sets done, they have the costumes already, right? So it's an easier one to get into. I think it's an easier step for them to take. So that's interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what happens next. But we're going to move on to our next headline here, and that is that there's already controversy over a movie that doesn't even have a completed script yet, because this is Star Wars fandom. Listen, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, this story is actually a couple weeks old, but it has not died, and it's worth having another conversation about. So she's a Pakistani-born, Oscar-winning director. She's been tapped to do the Rey movie. There was a little bit of surprise to see her come out on stage in London, but she's overqualified in a way, right? She's won an Oscar, but in a recent conversation with CNN, she said something like, "It's about time women shaped the galaxy far, far away." And then, because that pissed off the chodes, it also then forced them. They went back and they dug up a quote from her from about 8 years ago, where she said, she likes to make men uncomfortable. Now, her Oscar-winning documentaries are about honor killings and attacking women with acid attacks on women in Pakistan. I would like to make men uncomfortable who do that as well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the people who are trying to hide their anti-female perspective are saying things like, yeah, she's won Oscars, but as a documentarian, is she qualified to make a multi-million-dollar high-budget sci-fi action film? And to those people, I say, have you seen what high-budget action film Zack Snyder has done with something called Rebel Moon? Nick, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, my first question to the same people who want to question her qualifications, is she qualified to whatever? The first thing is, let's take a look in the mirror. She's infinitely more qualified than every single person who is lodging that complaint and throwing that out there. So here's what I want, and allow me to verge ever so swiftly into Chris Ryons territory for just a minute. Give me a Star Wars property led by someone with vision. Give me a Star Wars property led by someone who is a person of color, who is from another nationality. Doesn't just have to be American, doesn't have to come from my experience. Give me a Star Wars story director, creator, from someone who says, I have the original article that came out. She said something to the effect of, I have a story I'm really excited about. That's what I want in Star Wars. I want people to make a story they're excited about, not cranked out in a factory and go, well, it's my turn to direct this one. So I'm excited for it. And if the other thing is, if the comments and the controversy and the things that she said make you uncomfortable, you may be part of the problem. That's just my 2 cents.
It's a fair point. Chris, what do you got?
I'm not going to go off on a rant. Oh, I could.
Oh, you could.
But I could. But For these, the laser eyes and the grifters out there, do it can't escape them that this is from 8+ years ago, and that in context that just flies, it just goes around them and they don't see it. I don't understand how they could take that, clear minded, take that. And that quote from 8 years ago, and they go like, "Oh, well, see, this is what she's saying about what she's going to do with Star Wars." That conversation had nothing to do with Star Wars.
Correct.
So why even bring that up? Let me rein it in. I'm sorry, but it's just it. I know they're always graspers for something else to complain about and whine about.
But we know why they do it. We know that there's money in hate and in
Yep.
not just Star Wars. And it's really interesting because we see it in Star Wars because we have this show and we spend way too much time in that social media space. But the reality is, everywhere, whether it's comic books where people are complaining about characters going different directions, or superheroes, or Star Trek. Look at Below Decks has been nothing but controversy for people who have a strange old-fashioned expectation of what Star Wars should be or what Star Trek should be.
Lower Decks, yeah.
Lower Decks, yeah. Not only do I not read comic books, I'm not a huge Trekkie, but the point is, I think we're it's dangerous though. I think for Star Wars from a marketing perspective, because it's going to create that negative side, which is why I'll just bring it real quickly back to why I think Mando and Grogu is a good bet, because let them take the time with this movie, get everything right. Do not force that out. Give us Mando and Grogu, which should be, I dare say, a slam dunk, but nothing really is. Chris, do you have a final thought on that before?
Yeah, as far as writing a story for Mando, and please don't write this to preemptively please people.
Yep.
Write your story. Just do your story and put it out there. It shouldn't be some made to order thing like you're a Burger King or something like that. This is just write your story and everything will fall into place, I think.
I can't disagree with you there. Yep. Do we have another headline, Nick? What do you got?
We do have another headline. In fact, it's my turn. John Williams, a week or two ago, spoke to the Sunday Times, and although he had implied initially he was retiring from the soundtrack business after this past summer's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it seems he has now left the door open. He said, quote, "If a film came along that I was greatly interested in with a schedule that I could cope with, then I wouldn't want to rule anything out. We've just been talking about the Ray-centric film that's on the horizon. This definitely has fans hopeful that he's going to do one more Star Wars. Here's my deal. I'm always going to be at the front of the line for all things John Williams. There is that little thing that people have where they worry a favorite artist, athlete, actor, whoever it is, gets older. They may start to lose a step. They don't want to see their heroes go out diminished. My thing is, if John Williams is feeling it, give the man he's earned the opportunity to be involved in a Star Wars, a Jurassic Park, whatever the thing is that he wants to do. I'm all about it. Chris, here's my question for you. Should John Williams score the next Star Wars movie?
Nick, I'm a wrestling fan, and there are sometimes wrestlers who go on way too long and should have sat down by now, like Ric Flair.
Right.
That man is going to explode in the ring one day. It's going to happen. He's just going to it just blood and guts everywhere. But while I'm all for Mr. Williams taking several seats and just enjoying retirement, if this man's got it in him to belt out another couple of movies or whatever, who am I to tell him no? Make that beautiful music.
Fair enough.
Well, I don't think any of us, obviously none of us can tell him no, but I would tell him to think about it. And what I mean by that, I will say that there has not been an experience I've ever had that has matched up to being at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim a couple years ago with my father to my left and my son to my right, and watching John Williams come out on stage and conduct an orchestra doing the Imperial March. The man is clearly legend, and there were tears in the eyes of everybody in the room when it was happening. That being said, and this will catch me some heat, but I feel like the way movies are made now may not lend themselves too well to the way John Williams writes scores. So I think the Rey theme from Force Awakens is one of his best pieces of work, period, bar none. And that's across, a career a phenomenal music. I think the Resistance March is really cool. But name me another theme from the sequel trilogy that is infinitely hummable, and that's what Williams does. And I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's because he's lost a step. I think it's because the way movies are made now, they don't breathe. You don't have those longer moments to be. I mean, if they were to make The Empire Strikes Back again today, there's no way we'd get as long a shot of that Imperial fleet above Hoth as we did get, right? So I think I don't know if it's. I'd love for him to do something like what he did for the Obi-Wan series, where he wrote the main theme and let things come off of that.
Yeah.
And I'll still. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, he may be right for exactly what you're saying, a collaboration point. Let's say it's the Rey movie, or let's say it's the Mando and Grogu movie. Maybe he decides he wants to write a theme for Grogu or for Mando that's not just the, we have the Mando theme from the TV show. Maybe it's a collaborative point, because you're exactly right. Having time to let it breathe, letting it be something else. Because when you look at the score from Solo, and that was Michael Giacchino, right?
Yep.
Is that not right? John Powell. Okay. So Persistence Memory is one of my favorite parts of the score from the Solo movie, where, we get, those tie-in threads of the things that we know from other parts of it, but it's still got the DNA of John Williams in it. So maybe it's a collaborative effort, not scoring the entire movie, but picking a key feature and going that route.
I like that.
I can live with that. I would love to see that. And I'd love to see the Kiner brothers. Give me the Kiner brothers.
Yes.
A major motion picture, right?
Oh my gosh.
I think he should pass it. It should be passed on to them to do everything.
Do it all.
You take all.
As somebody who had a rocky initial relationship with the Bad Batch, one of the things that drew me in, especially in this most recent season, besides the visuals, was the music and the scores that the Kiner brothers put into that and applied to that's a key part of Star Wars. And for me, that show, being an animated show, was no exception to the movies. It was a key part of that environment.
Absolutely. Well, we got one more headline to hit before we take our next break and bring on our first guest in the new show. But so, Chris, tell us about the next one.
All right. Well, early in the week, Entertainment Weekly's Star Wars podcast called Dagobah Dispatch played their interview with Ahsoka Tano herself, Rosario Dawson, in which she said there was not yet any information or confirmation of a second season for the Ahsoka series. Then, as footnote to the big news about the Mando and Grogu movie, Lucasfilm was like, "Hey, guess what? Season 2 of Ahsoka's coming. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great." And Dave Filoni is going to be doing this feature films, but he is also currently developing Ahsoka season 2. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. And if I could just jump on that real quick, I will say once again, gimme. Gimme. No, I'm not surprised that it's coming back. Yeah. There are way too many. There's way too many stories that need to be told, and it would be. I'm sorry, way too many stories that need to be told in both galaxies.
Right.
And it would be a high crime, if they did not at least continue this story. You know, there's so many threads that are left open, and Anakin's story is not done yet. So that there's a lot that has to be done.
What do you got, Nick?
I mean, yes. Also, give it to me, please and thank you. The way it ended, there was no way that you didn't leave that thinking one of two things. It's going to be continued in the kind of ultimate culmination Mandoverse movie that we've heard about that's going to tie all that stuff together. But I mean, you've got Ahsoka and Sabine still in, the outer other galaxy. I forget what it's called. I'll mail my fan card to you later. You've got it's ready for it. And based on the statistics, the feedback, the viewer numbers, yes, let's go. It's something that's going to produce for Star Wars. It's something that's going to produce for Disney Plus. Keep it rolling. I'm excited about it. And I'm excited to see, honestly, it's like what we've said, give it time to develop. If we're still heading towards that eventual culmination, Thanos Avengers level, Mandoverse movie, let's add some more things to the pot to continue to simmer to make that movie have even more weight. And if that's a Mando movie and a Mando season 4 and an Ahsoka season 2 that all feed into that, awesome. Where can we go wrong?
I don't think it's any coincidence that all this stuff is happening several months, or I don't even know how long. The Star Wars news time is a continuum that's impossible to follow. But I don't think it's any coincidence that they have recently elevated Dave Filoni to this creative director role, or whatever title it is. I'm sorry, Dave, if I'm getting it wrong. Because it's going to be really important to make sure that all these threads are pulled together, and I have no more confidence than in anybody than Dave Filoni to get that done. The biggest heartbreak about it, though, to be honest, is that to me, the breakout character from the Ahsoka series, as great as everybody was, and there was so many great characters, but Ray Stevens as Baylan Skull was not just because I feel like finally somebody I can cosplay, but I feel like it's he was so good, so strong in that character. Everything you read in interviews with him is, the way he approached the character is, he's a bad guy who doesn't realize he's a bad guy or thinks he's the good guy, that's what makes great characters.
Compelling.
Yeah.
That's Walter White, Breaking Bad level stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ray was so amazing. And it's tragic to begin with, but it's even more tragic when you see just the phenomenal stuff that he brought to that character. So
it has to be a recast, right?
It's got to be.
It's got to be, but man,
don't T'Challa this.
Yeah,
bring it. Look, I love Chadwick Boseman, but John Boyega was right there. They could have
pulled him in. He would have been happy to do it.
Yeah, there's plenty of actors who would take it. Anyway,
yeah.
We'll have that conversation another time because I was lobbying for Winston Duke. So whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's
make him Baku Black Panther. That's where I was going.
Well, now you both have lost me because I'm a comic book guy. But we are going to go on to our next break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by the talented, the famous, the wonderful, good friend of the show, Krystina Arielle. But we'll be right back with more ATG Live.
Welcome back to ATG Live. It is Thursday night. It's the first ATG Live of 2024. If you are confused, if you're wondering why isn't it Friday, why isn't this called Force Connect?
I always wonder why it's not Friday. I always wonder why it's not Friday.
That's right. My family's really relieved that it's not Friday, if we're being fully transparent here. But we are back. We've had a fantastic show so far. Thank you to everyone who is hanging out with us in the live chat. We're glad you're here. We're going to get to your comments at the end of the show in our Intercepted Transmissions segment. But tonight we are at our Force Connect segment, which paying homage to that show that we loved and have done for the last several years. This is where we get to connect with a guest, and every single week we are going to have a fabulous guest here for you. And I could not think of a more fabulous guest to join us on the first edition of ATG Live. We said it at the top of the show. She's the queen of our High Republic. She is your tabletop RPG god guru, the person that you look to when she's out doing cool things. And as I also said, in my house in particular, she is known as Krystina with the good hair. It is my pleasure to welcome to the show our good friend and guest, Krystina Arielle.
Nope, there she is. She's back. Oh,
I got
hello. It was an intercepted transmission. We booted you out. Now you're back. How are you? Can you hear us?
good. Can you guys hear me? Is that good?
We can.
Yep.
Yes, we got you.
Oh, okay, great. Is everything clear? You guys are blinking, and I don't know if it's my internet or if it's just the app itself.
I'm not sure, but I think we're okay. We can see you. You're,
Oh,
you're
sweet. Hi.
smooth. Hi.
How y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to see your shining, beautiful face.
It's my pleasure. I like hanging out with y'all. It's fun.
We try to make it fun. We are so thankful you're here. We're thankful that you're joining us for the first ATG Live of the year.
Of all time.
We're going to get to the High Republic because that's your area. That's your side of the street. We know that that's important and we definitely want to hear that. But before we get to that, it is 2024. There has been a boatload of news, but also things that we kind of know are on the horizon this year, whether it's Bad Batch, whether it's Skeleton Crew, Acolyte. Tell us, Krystina, as a Star Wars fan, what are you most looking forward to in 2024, High Republic aside?
Oh, well, it's not technically High Republic aside. It's the Acolyte, and I'm very, very excited about it because I'm going to keep saying this. Like, Leslie Headland grew up writing Star Wars fan fiction. Like, this is a person who has been dead. Like, her basis is in the EU. She's a diehard. And so to see and to know how kind of just steadfast a person that she is, I think it's gonna be really good. I'm really excited about it. I'm also excited about this next part of Young Jedi Adventures because the trailer was really good. And yes, I understand it's a toddler show, but my excuse, I have 2 toddlers, so I can watch whatever I want to. And
right.
I will
Then I got to figure out an excuse for me. I gotta be like, well, my 11-year-old son he likes the kiddie cartoon. No, he won't. I know he won't sit with that with me. I'll just watch it. I don't care. I'm a Star
roll
Wars
with it,
fan.
man.
Say,
just watch the show.
Yeah, just roll
At
with
this
it.
point, we have
show.
at this point we have friends who have written episodes of it. We have no excuse not to just watch it.
This is true.
It's good stuff. And for Critical Role fans, you also get to see that. Oh my gosh, my brain just completely blanked. But Liam O'Brien is playing the Jedi Master, and I thought that was really cool. So, also, fun fact. Oh, hold on. Can I do the thing with my brain real quick?
Of course.
Sure.
Of course.
Okay. So, you have Liam O'Brien, who's on Critical Role, and then you have the show the voice director for that show is Eden Regal, who used to be on All My Children and was great. Her name was Bianca, was her character, and she was the daughter of Erica Kane. It was great because she had one of the first coming out stories in all of daytime television. So bringing that back around, Eden Regal is the sister of Sam Riegel, who is also on Critical Role. But Sam Riegel is married to Killian Tran, who is the cinematic director, the director of cinematography for Ahsoka.
See,
what
it's 6 degrees of Star Wars with Krystina Arielle.
What I want,
Kevin
Krystina,
Bacon.
I know you don't need to listen to our recommendation, but what you need to do, you need to bring it to the High Republic show with the board from Always Sunny, and just be like, here's what's happening.
Let's connect the string. I mean, if you ever listen to the timeline, that's basically what I'm doing. And I'm like, can I say that a little bit faster? And they're like, no one is going to understand what you're saying. I'm like, but they will.
Before I know Chris has a question coming up, but because I want to just mention what you said about Chris Headland having written Star Wars fan fiction. There's a lot of rumblings and grumblings right now in the fandom around women in Star Wars, because there always is, and I won't go into that. But I know so many of the women fans that we're friends with, they started either reading or writing Star Wars fan fiction, and it's so important. I got back into the Star Wars social media space by writing a fan fiction novelization of the Phantom Menace. So people who love Star Wars should be there making Star Wars. So I just love that point that you made.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, I'm not going to do the thing, but I'm going to say that you have to have people spending money to make things go on, and women buy lots of merchandise and things. Yes, we all do. But fandom on Tumblr is a very female-led place. Just saying. But let people like what they like. You don't get to qualify or quantify what someone's fandom is. That's not for you. You are not with them. It's like you weren't with me shooting in the gym. You're not with me reading my books. You're not with me reading the comics. You're not with me hiding in the library because you have social anxiety and you don't want to walk into the cafeteria. But there's a wonderful lady named Miss Sonia Boyd who lets you hide and read and lets you work on the teleprompter and read books and have somewhere to go. Like, trauma is not uniquely yours.
Yep. For sure.
And I think it's important to realize that you had this experience and you had that feeling of left out. So why take that feeling and put it onto someone else? Why try to create a sense of not belonging when this hole that you have, that you filled with this thing that we've all come to love? Why not let that be a place of love? Why not let that be a place of welcoming? Let that be a place where you say, hey, there's room for you here. We all love this thing. This thing continues for this amount of time, for this many years, to carry on to generations, to now get to sit with my son and watch Young Jedi Adventures. Those things happen because people care and they love, and it grows, and we invest ourselves, we invest our hearts, and you don't get to decide how much of someone's heart is in something. That's not your place. You enjoy your thing and just keep it moving.
100%.
And that's what we call common sense, everyone.
It's a lost art. All right.
Listen, it's not to negate anyone. It's not to negate anyone or any of those things. It's just let people enjoy what they enjoy. We don't have to hurt people to enjoy things.
Absolutely.
Somebody doesn't have to be the loser.
Exactly.
All right, so Krystina, I'll start off. I got a question for you. Now, are there any particular stories or characters from the High Republic that you're eager for fans to explore in 2024?
Oh, well, I guess since everybody knows that she's in it now, I feel like it'll be interesting to watch the development of Vernestra going into the Acolyte and these different things. And obviously, I'm very interested in the journey of one Jedi Master Keeve Trennis, who I think is exceptionally dope. And just, the hair in this era is chef's kiss. Shout out Arielle Anandito. Shout out all the artists. Shout out Kevin Scott. Like, I love y'all.
I
love what they've been doing with those characters. I'm halfway through the current book that's out right now, and I keep forgetting the name of the book, but I'm just reading that, and my side eye is so hard on Markion right now. Just everything that he's doing.
Oh, you're talking about George Mann.
Yes.
Listen, here's the thing. Markion is such a compelling villain that you kind of are like, I know you've seen the chatter online where we say, I can fix him. Like, I can save him. But like, I Have Darkness starts out in such a way, like, no spoilers, but that you're like, oh, he's the baddie. Like, he's the baddie. It's like, there's no question. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. However, I will say that I'm about his dating choices. So, it is what it is.
I mean, but that's also like that messed up right there. But, yeah.
Markion got him on demon time. I don't know what to tell you.
I do one thing, and I'll let you. Pete, I know Pete's going next, but I just want to say, I wonder if Markion were in the age of the Empire, would he be a rebel? Would he be against the Empire?
No, I don't.
I was thinking about that in my drive home from work last night. Like, I'm just like, you don't think so?
No, it's a very compelling question. But I think at the end of the day, like, he's not going to agree with the rebels because he's just, in a way, kind of contrarian by nature. And like, yes, he has these strong, stalwart principles that he believes that he has, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like he would be on the side of the Empire because all of the evidence to that point in his behavior and his execution of just mercilessness.
I can see that. I can see that.
That answer your question? If I did not,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. No. Absolutely.
I have to ask because Krystina, you know from the last time you hung out with us that I'm so far behind on High Republic that I haven't even started, and I feel I know I need to get there. And honestly, it's like this weird sort of peer pressure I feel probably from the guy above me here on the screen.
Hearing at you right now. Yes.
Yeah, that guy. And you notice I'm being extra quiet right now for reasons.
But because we have a bunch of people watching who may or may not have gotten into it. First of all, how would you describe the High Republic as a series, and how would you recommend, getting your feet wet with it and getting into it? Because everything I hear, I'm like, I need to find the time. I need to make this work because it just sounds this Markion Rowe guy. I got to find out more about him. So that's how out of it I am, Krystina. I know I sound like a 75. This Darth Vader guy sounds like a bad guy.
No. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
People are busy. There is a lot of material, and it is very fast and furious. When the phase starts and the gates open, there's a lot. And the thing is, like, a lot of these pieces are made so you do get a little bit of the fill-in points. But my personal recommendation, the middle grade novels kind of fill you in, and they also there's a lot of emotion in those. The thing about the High Republic is, a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, even seeing Young Jedi, they're like, younglings, let's set the stage. This is hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga.
Right.
This is another part of the story. This is history. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to expound on what we already know. Yeah. It's an opportunity to just meet new characters, to establish new just realms of possibility. Now think of all these callbacks you can do in later comics where you now have all this lore. All of it is enriching the lore. You listen, they got cool Jedis. The Jedi are at their height. But there's also the Nile, led by Markion Rowe, also known as the Eye, and he's a really great villain. He's think Ben Barnes. Think Ben Barnes but blue. And then you have your Stellan Geos, who again, Michael Heisman. I'm just going to put all these faces in here for you so that you can go ahead and realize that there's so much potential here, especially from a fangirls out there. There's a lot of potential here. Think of all these people. Oh my gosh. The High Republic is an opportunity for us to just explore a different part of the galaxy, learn new stories. You don't have to get into everything, but start. Get an audiobook. That's what I recommend is get an audiobook on your drive. The audiobooks are fantastic. The narration, especially you have to listen to Markion Rowe. You have to, it's you had to be there. You need to get on the audiobook. You can listen to it while you're doing a jog. You can listen to it while you're walking a dog. You can listen to it while you're driving to work. You can listen to it while you're picking kids up from school. You know what? You can listen to it when you say, hey, I'm going to bed early, and you end up at 4:00 in the morning watching Housewives. That could be your time to listen. Just saying.
I think you actually just nailed it for me to look at it as almost like reading a history or more information, gathering more information about a place that you love, but you can do it at your own pace. And I think actually there's probably an advantage to the fact that it isn't movies yet in any way, because there's not going to the spoilers for books and comics are much slower. You have to look for those spoilers a little bit more than 5 minutes after Mandalorian season 3 episode 1 comes out. It's all right, well, I don't have to watch it now because everybody just posted pictures. So I like that.
I've seen the entire season in a thread.
That's right. Exactly. I love that as an approach. Thank you. That actually helps me and makes me feel much better about it. I feel like I can go at it. I can go do it.
That's the thing. Don't pressure yourself. It's not a competition. It's not a race. If it's for your enjoyment, do it for your enjoyment at your leisure. There's no pressure. The only pressure we feel is because there's this competition to be the greatest Star Wars fan with the most knowledge and all of the lore. And it's bro, relax. We all got lives.
Okay. So do you hear that, Chris? It's not a competition, nor
Shut
is
up,
it
Nick. Read a comic book.
Nor is it an opportunity for you to judge me or Pete. That's really what Krystina is trying to say here. She's on our
I'm
side.
not asking Chris to go off brand. I'm just saying we're gonna respect
Neither are
each
we.
other's. It starts right here, Chris. It starts right here.
That's right.
We don't have to pressure. We can disagree and be like, you know what? You do you. Get to it when you
Right.
get to it. But in this moment,
Yeah.
I will explain it to you and help you get there.
Right. Yeah. I don't pressure them. I side eye them. You know, like,
And I'm fully willing to step up and say, hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. So we're going to go with that. But Krystina, I do want to ask you this. You are, and we've said this every time you've been on with us, we're so thankful that you are always willing to come on and hang out with us. You are us. You are a fan. You get to do High Republic show. You get to be involved in Kenobi. You get to be involved as characters in some of these products, all these things. You connect with the fans. You interact on social media. And I know that, you know, from the conversations we've had in the past, part of that for you comes from, you know, we're your people and you're us, and you're just a fan who got the opportunity to do this other new thing. My question for you is fan interaction in Star Wars. How important is that, not only for fans to interact with each other, but for creators to have the opportunity to connect with the people who consume all this content? Like, how do you see the role of fan interaction and the success of Star Wars, certainly in the world we live in with social media, but, you know, as we're heading into a year full of all kinds of new exciting stuff, like, where does that fall for you?
I think it's extremely important because when you look at an event like Star Wars Celebration, or you look online, and it's like, for me, speaking for the High Republic fandom, my interaction with the people that love it as much as we do is extremely important. Like, we're getting to meet these people, and it's not just limited to the people we bump into at a Barnes and Noble who pick up the same book and you go, like, you have the
Right.
internet, you have people from all corners of the world. They're falling in love with this thing. Like, I remember last year for my birthday, like, they got together and there was like somebody from France. Like, there's people all over the world that are into these things, and we have this opportunity to connect over something that we all love. And like, that's a great thing. Like, just to have somebody with that commonality. And I've made a lot of great friends through the internet. I mean, I err on the side of like not being a jerk. I think the thing is like remembering that. How do I say this in the most? Access is not permission to be an asshole.
Correct. 100%.
And so I think it's being respectful of the fact, it's if you write something negative under a person who plays a person that you like, and you write this negative comment, that person still has to see that comment that's there.
Right.
Like, and I understand some people are like, oh, well, I'm going to get more of a reaction. Like, I can always walk it back and be like, oh, sorry. Like, that's not necessarily what I meant, but I've got your attention. And it's like, you can lead with kindness. You can just be like, hey, like, we love this thing. Like, I'm a constant internet lurker. So like, I'm on Tumblr. I'm on all the things, like just talking to people because like, who am I? I'm very fortunate. I love what I do, but I'm not like a Rosario Dawson. Like, I'm just like a lady doing the stuff that she likes. And like, for me, like every time I walk into a room, I'm still like, whoa, like this is wild. And it's not just like being at and doing an interview. It's meeting people and they come up and they're like, hey, Krystina, I'm at so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, like once it clicks and I'm like, well, they say, hey, my name is like Sophie. And it's like, oh, what's your Twitter handle? And they're like, oh, it's this.
Exactly.
Like, and it is, it's great. And like, I do have a lot of like friendships I hold very dear that have the foundation of Star Wars, and that it has brought so many important people into my life. And I think that you see that with Amon and Sandy, like being so interactive, like they're engaging, they're talking, and like appreciating the fan art. Like, it's a mutual appreciation is what it turns into. It's this, like, I appreciate your art. Thank you for your time. Those different things. Like, people just want to feel seen and heard. And we have that opportunity with the internet to use that as a positive vessel, to be like, I enjoy this. This art changed me. This, whatever. Have a great day. Just something like we can reach all corners of the world at any time of the night or day. Like, why not use that to find something you love and that you care about, or meet someone that you care about?
Well, it's been such a special thing to watch. And certainly, like I said, you've been great friends to us over the last several years. And the little connecting moments, little things to me. We had, during Celebration London, I didn't get to go, but I had a bunch of the live streams up on the big main TV in the middle of my house. And like my girls are coming through the house going, Dad, isn't that your friend? Like, don't you know her? And I'm like, that's Krystina. Like, yes. And it gives us that vision and that insight into something I didn't get to go to and attend, but I see my friend on screen having those experiences, watching the videos when you're meeting, Ewan, when you're in the Kenobi show, when you're doing these different things, like you really are, the opportunity that all of us are excited for and get to watch and be a passenger because you take us along with you. And that is so important to us as fans to get the opportunity to be like, yeah, that's my friend. And she was in Kenobi and she gets to host these cool things. And it's exciting because we're like, yeah, we're there. You're taking us with you. And that just, again, it expands the circles, as I guess, I like to say or think about it as. So that's a way of me saying, thank you for always being awesome. Thank you for always hanging out, coming on this show, being with us. It means a lot, not only to us as fans, but everybody else that I know feels the same way.
You guys sent me something for Christmas. Like, that's nice. Like, it was the stickers. And then I saw the stickers on the commercial right before I came up. And I was like, I've got those in my house.
Right. That's right.
Like, thanks. Like, I
because
appreciate
we
it.
feel like you're one of us and, you're our friend and we love you for that.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. Like, it was, I always think it's cool when people care about anything I do because I'm always like, if you having kids is very humbling. Because it's like you can go and you can do this glamorous thing and then you're going to go home and someone's shoving a bottle in your face going, milk, please.
Yep.
So, I mean, like, listen, I've been up since 5 doing like school drop off and all that kind of stuff and then meetings and like, but I've been looking forward to getting to this part of the day and getting to hang out with adults that don't live in my house that are my friends. I like getting to do this and I like getting to see the comments and watch the people that are excited about it. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of good that we can do. And sometimes that starts with showing up.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we want to thank you for showing up. This is our first show in this format, and we're going to be featuring special guests, but it's going to be hard to top Krystina Arielle. Krystina, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for all you do, echoing everything that Nick and Chris have said as far as being a friend of the fandom. It means so much, and thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully we will speak to you again very soon.
Or will you?
Well, Lloyd, take us out to our next break. Thank you so much, Krystina. Thank you to everybody hanging out with us, and we'll be back in just a minute with more ATG Live.
So I was D. Bradley Baker's sound-alike for Captain Rex and for a lot of the toy campaign. It was at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 commercials that were all national spots. And it was just like, on the Iceland of such and such, we scrapped those blankets. It was just all, voiceover, whatever. And, and I auditioned also for Anakin Skywalker for the voice of the toys, but they didn't say what it was for. This is for a foreign toy that's outside of the U.S. So this will be the international version of this toy. So we can't use any words that can be translated into English. So only names. Only one we could use. Everything else had to be Ahsoka, R2, Rex, Grievous. It's just, I had to literally act without saying anything. It was a weird job. It was so fun. But most recently, I did some cool stuff that I just can't disclose, but I got to do some sound-alike work for 3PO and Mandalorian. This is the way.
Well, welcome back to ATG Live. Thank you once again to Krystina Arielle for hanging out with us. She is, Nick, you said it 100% right. Like, she's one of us, but she's not, and she's so humble, and she's such a great person to just, she represents the fandom. And honestly, we don't talk about it, and we don't need to talk too much about it, but when she first came into the fandom, she hit a wall, man. Yep. She saw the worst of it, and she stuck with it, and she just became just an even better person as a relief.
And she handled it with grace. She handled it with poise. She was exactly what we have continued to know her to be, which is awesome. Just bottom line.
Absolutely.
She fought back without having to be, without just spewing vitriol to anyone or anything like that. She just kept doing her thing, and I love that about her and handling that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and speaking of fans, we have been watching what you've had to say in the chat. We're going to bring some of those things up with our next section. Punch it.
Where are those transmissions you intercepted?
All right, vote in the chat. Like I'm not saying punch it again. I hate it. It sounds dumb. It sounds forced. It's on the notes so that Lloyd knows when we want him to press a button. But damn it, I hate it. I'm not saying it again. You will see on the screen with us our good friend Lloyd, who is running the show in the back. Lloyd has become a part of the family here at ATG Live. And Lloyd, how are you doing? How are you feeling about the first show? How do you feel things are going?
Other than my mouse button getting stuck and I had to physically try to pry it up.
It's amazing how when it says live in the corner, how your computer's like, oh, that means that I don't have to really work too hard.
Live, screw you guys.
I was clicking the thing and nothing was happening, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I had to actually pry it up.
That's okay.
A lot of hours of Battlefield on it.
Full disclosure, because I don't want you to have to fall on the sword for a mistake I made. As I was going to click the overlay for the news, I accidentally clicked the video and not the overlay. So that's why that video played so good.
Wasn't me.
I was going to fire Lloyd right there, but it was you.
It was me.
In the wise words of Shaggy, wasn't me. It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
So Lloyd, did we get any interesting comments that we want to talk? And also, by the way, we mentioned at the top of the show, 504-321-1501, 504-321-1501. Leave us your voicemail. Maybe let's start with a voicemail that we got this week before the show.
Okay, I can do that. So the first voicemail, it's relatively short, and it's by our good friend Eric Elliott. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that thing.
Hello there, this is Eric Elliott of Honest to Claude. I recently reached 1,000 views with a Star Wars Conspiracy Iceberg video. What did you think about it? Did you like it, dislike it, or do you simply think I desperately need therapy? Best of wishes.
We love Eric Elliott. We love Honest to Claude. We love the Zillow conspiracies. He sent that in. He on his channel. He created a really I'm seriously urging people to go check it out. It's about a 17-minute video where he talks about all the strangest and actually some that aren't so strange conspiracy theories in Star Wars, and it's a great conversation or a great video. I recommend you check it out. Did any of you guys get a chance to check out even a couple minutes of it?
I didn't get to see it.
That's all right.
I have also not watched it, but I am. This is my solemn vow to Eric. He is in the chat. I've seen him hanging out tonight. I will watch it tonight before my day ends, and I will send you some direct feedback because I drug my feet and I've seen it being posted out there, and I didn't get there, but I'm going to do it just for you, my friend.
Well, it's nice to know that when I retweet something, people go, "Yep," and ignore it. So that's good. That's great. Lloyd, did we get any comments you want to bring up?
We haven't done the voicemail.
We have another voicemail. Oh, yes.
You have two of them.
That's right, we do.
So this one's from Matt. He was at the top of the show as well. So I'm going to click that.
Hey, this is Matt from Enid. Hey, first off, this thing kind of reminds me of the old movie phone. That's beside the point. Hey, Pete, I was pretty happy that you made it a week with your resolution not to dive in the muddy waters again, but Star Wars theory. I knew when I seen it that you were going to be back. Hey, just be you. Don't worry about it. Just let it fly, man. Let that old anger get off my lawn, man, out. And it'll be all good. I'll be waiting for you guys' first show. Have a good day, man. Take it easy. Bye.
So, first of all, I want to say Matt from Enid has been with us since Beyond the Blasters. Matt is just the best. And he's, as you heard in his dry delivery, he has a very good way of sort of reminding you. Yes, I did. I think it was probably either on the 31st or the 1st. I wrote like a tapestry, if you will, of a tweet about how I was going to like not get involved, and then the Chinoy stuff happened, and people like Star Wars Theory started, and friends of mine were getting getting in the fray, and I couldn't help it. But I'm going to try to be less of a pot stirrer. Chris, do you think that's at all possible? I see you up there commenting with your face in your drink.
I got high hopes for you, Pete.
I didn't.
No. I'm reminded of one of my other favorite movie properties, The Godfather. And there's a key moment in The Godfather where he says, "Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in."
Yeah,
that's Pete. That's it. You know,
I can't avoid a good argument. I mean, it's just part of who I am. So
it's because you're from New Jersey and I'm from New York, and it just kind of flows. In
yeah,
us.
Yeah. You're like, today's going to be the day that I don't say, "Oh, what did you say to me?" So, but hey, we want your voicemails too. 504-321-1301. Did I get that number right? Yeah, it's right there on the screen. 321-1501. It's on the screen. Don't listen to my voice. 504-321-1501. Numbers are hard. But yeah, it was a great show. I'm sure there was some comments that came through we want to address.
Yeah, so there are quite a number of them, so I'll shotgun them and you can go as quick as you want.
Awesome.
So kind of going back to the beginning from Woodsy, all these new announcements and still nothing on the Lando show that I fear the show ain't happening.
Chris, I'm going to defer to you on that one, man. What do you think, man? Is it going to happen?
This is part of the problem with Woodsy. But whenever something's announced, everyone gets mad that the one thing that they were looking for, whatever, didn't happen. Like things can happen for Star Wars concurrently. They just announced it. Pretty sure Lando's still happening. You just gotta give it some time. Let things work out. Just let it work out. It's going to be okay. I'm pretty sure Lando is still coming.
Okay.
They're just making an announcement. They didn't say like, "Yeah, we're working on Mandalorian," and that's it. They're just like, it's going to take time. Give it a minute. They will get to it.
Isn't it funny how much people assume things as soon as any new headline drops? Like, oh, well, they just burned everything else to the ground.
I forgot who it was. Someone got so mad, like, "Oh, what is now Bad Batch season 3 going to take a back seat to this?" I'm like, no. Bad Batch is pretty much done.
No one said anything about that.
But dude, I do have to say they're going to need a new young Lando if they wait too much longer. I mean, how old was Billy D and how old is Glover?
Depends on where the story's at.
Yeah,
fair point.
It's true.
Fair
point. As long as they don't multiverse this shit, we'll be good.
Stop that. No.
Although Star Wars does have a nasty habit of announcing something and then just nothing ever does happen. I get where he's coming from.
They have a past back.
Yeah. Taika Waititi movie.
Rogue Squadron.
Well, Rogue Squadron is all Gina Carano. What else we got?
What are the comments?
So this one's more of praise. Ray Skygoat says, "Awesome conversation. I cannot wait for the Ray film."
Oh yes, thank you, Ray Skygoat. I've seen you on Twitter a lot. Thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah, I can't wait for that either. And again, as we said at the top of the show, and I think it's going to be my new mantra: take your time with it, man. I think it's give us the quote unquote, the easy targets and the properties that are already rolling and build us a good house for this one. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one we have is from TW McKay. In my opinion,
Canada.
Williams scoring NJO would be a cool idea, but I think the other three should be scored by others. Göransson for the Mando movie, and Kiner for the Filoni film, for example.
Yes.
Yes, TW McKay, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, again, even if he just gives us, if he can build on like the Force theme or something for the new Jedi Order, and just that would be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah.
One from Hathmoth. I love JW. I loved Michael Giacchino's score for Rogue One, and I love John Powell's solo score as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Chris.
I would say Giacchino's Imperial Suite is something that rings in my head all the time. I'm starting to love that. Ooh, not more than, but as much as the Imperial March.
But I will, I was just going to say, one of the things that I agree with you on with the Giacchino score that I didn't notice in the movie until I listened to the score was the Death Star theme. I forgot the Death Star has a theme, and it's just a couple notes, but he nailed it every time it showed up on the screen, and it's perfect. Bring that man back. Yes, absolutely.
Brian Fennessy says, I agree, TW. As much as I love Williams, he shouldn't take Ludwig's thunder.
No.
Yeah. Nope. Let him stick with Mando, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Those two kind of went hand in hand, so I grabbed both. Another one by TW. I feel Ahsoka season 2 will be about Ahsoka and Sabine, and possibly Shin getting off Peridia and regrouping.
Partially.
I think that's where the majority of the show, I think what he's getting at is that's where the majority of it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. I'm not
Ahsoka.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's called Ahsoka, so you think the lion's share would be Ahsoka. But I do see part of that story being the whole, reuniting of the of the Rebels crew, as much as they can without, of course, Kanan and Sabine there. So
maybe Ahsoka season 2 ends with the whole crew getting back together, and then that leads into Filoni's movie. That would be fine. I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Lloyd, give us 2 more, and then we're going to close it up.
Damn. Okay. Eric says Chris is a pressure cooker.
Why would you highlight? Okay.
Just to remind you, Chris. Just to remind you.
It was when you were when you had like that little bit of a.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Take a sip, Chris. You'll be fine.
And Brian says, "I'm just waiting for the Avengers Assemble moment when Ahsoka, Sabine, and Shin show up riding on space whales."
On your left.
That's that Dune moment right there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did you say Dune?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
What appropriate timing.
Well, Dune is
something about Patrick Stewart going atomics at the top of his lungs, and then it's just like the cheesiest special effects I've ever seen in my life. Okay, I'm good.
Well, the new Dune movie is 50 days away. I'm looking forward to that though.
Yeah.
So I'll be there for that. Well, gentlemen,
this can do that for you, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh no! This has been a lot of fun. This our first ATG live. Hopefully, you'll all join us next Thursday. Next Thursday, our guest is going to be Mr. Andy Hodges. He'll be hanging out with us. I think we're talking about cosplay and some other cool stuff and some different perspectives on fandom. So that'll be a lot of fun. We have honestly. Nick and I just were looking at it today. We have a slate of guests you do not want to miss. You want to meet them, but you don't want to miss them. Yeah, you definitely
meet them here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Thank you. But we will. For those of you who missed it, we dropped a brand new Around the Galaxy today with Mr. John Bailey, the epic voice guy. A fun conversation. There's a handful of Around the Galaxy episodes where I just end up laughing for an hour and then I have to edit myself out from just laughing. This was one of them. John Bailey was a blast, so you're going to want to check that out. But gentlemen, this has been great. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you enjoyed the show, please tell somebody about it. Please share it. Share this link even when the show's done. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button. Hit the reminder so you can join us next week. We will be here every Thursday night, 8:00 Eastern time, live, ATG live, talking about all the Star Wars news, having special guests, and hanging out with our good friends, all of you in the chat. Chris, may the Force be with you.
Always.
I gotta find it. Oh no, I can't find it.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not